Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Queen Elizabeth Hall and this very special portrait concert of the music of Harrison Birtwistle, in the company played by the ensemble, the group of musicians with whom Harry has had really the closest musical relationship of his whole career. I'm delighted to be joined on stage tonight by Harrison Birtwistle and by the virtuosos of the Sinfonietta themselves, because before each of the four pieces that we're going to hear tonight, we're going to have the chance to delve into the music with Harry and the musicians. So, four pieces tonight. We're going to end with the UK premiere of In Broken Images. Before that, there's the mechanical pastoral songs of Carmen Arcadiae Mechanicae Perpetuum, 5 distances for 5 instruments, and First Cortege, a musical ceremony for 14 musicians composed in memory of the artistic director of the London Sinfonietta, Michael Weiner. Harry, the musicians behind the 14 musicians are arranged in a semicircle. There's a bass drum on stage. But look, before we talk about Cortege, any connections across the whole program tonight, across these 4 pieces?
Well, when I was asked to choose a program, I thought it might be a nice idea to choose 2 pieces which are not conducted and 2 pieces which rely on a conductor. And the reason why Cortege does not have a conductor. I had a talk with Michael Weiner about how I thought that conductors were overestimated and that it would be possible to write a piece without a conductor with a good body of players. And that was one thing that when Michael died...
that was in 1989, wasn't it?
Was it? Yeah. That's when I remembered that rather cynical viewpoint. And but then what could this piece be? And then I thought that it would be interesting for the individual members of the group to come forward and make an offering, like putting a flower in individually. And so that's how the whole idea began.
So the 14 players then arranged in a semicircle, and 10 of them are going to have solo lines, and they'll come forward to the front of the stage. Look, just to set this in a context, Harry, and we'll think about how this non-conducted but very complex, sinuous line of music works. I want to hear the first example, which is the opening section of Cortege, played by the London Sinfonietta. Thank you. Those fantastic solos from Alexandra Wood on violin, Alistair Mackey on trumpet. Look, Harry, what we've seen happening there is that the players swap places as they've finished their solos. But there are four instruments that don't play solos. There's the bass drum, the piano, the cello, and the double bass. What function do they have? Because the ensemble has got to coordinate around that soloist, and they're all playing completely different lines of music.
The drum is, in a sense, making a signal to the players and a signpost in various places of the piece, and it's that anchors the whole thing together. And I mean, the technique in an orchestra is that a conductor makes what is called the upbeat, and you play on the downbeat. And what the drum does is that it plays a decorated sort of upbeat, and then as a downbeat, and then that says, and certain things bounce off it. So the points in between these beats are, in a sense, free, but they're free in that they are listening to the points within the solos that are being played.
So that's how they coordinate. And in their parts, they've got the cues of what the soloists are doing.
They've got the cues of what they're doing. But that material that they're playing is, in a sense, it's like lines like this, so that every time...
Horizontal lines.
If you had big ears and you could hear everything, and good memory, you would be able to know that when it's played the next time, it would be slightly different. It wouldn't be quite what it is, but I build that into the piece where that element doesn't actually interfere with the general harmony of the piece.
But you also have the moments when the soloists swap over or interlink with one another. It's like links in a musical chain, really, and there are moments when the lines overlap and where the players even have to turn pages for each other at the solo music stand there.
Yeah.
How did you think about the theatre of those connections between going from one solo to the next?
Well, once certain things are set up, once you're landed with what you've set up, there are then things which present themselves which can be positive, which come out of it. And then it seemed a nice idea that when one of them came to the front, the trumpet got up and went there, then instead of coming back to his seat, he takes the seat of the violinist. So consequently, the people that move to the front by the end of the piece are sitting in opposite places. That's just a sort of nice idea, which would be silly if I didn't do it. Yeah?
Well, it would be silly of us not to hear another example. One particular favourite moment of mine in this piece is the relationship between the clarinet solo and the bass trumpet solo. I want first to hear, want us all to hear now the two solo lines just together, and then we'll hear it as a tutti. Thank you. Round of applause, please, for clarinetist Mark van der Wiel and bass trumpet Byron Preacher. I promise the rest of you, we're not going to ask you all to play your solos naked like that.
Yeah, I might say that when I wrote this piece, Michael Weiner passed away, and I was writing Gawain for the Royal Opera House, and I was very much previous to that into Wagner, and the sound of the the bass trumpet was something very much in my head, and that's why it's in this piece. That sound particularly the beginning of Götterdämmerung. Yeah.
Let's just hear how those solos then work with the accompaniment around them. Mark.
Don't want it to become like a music appreciation class, but I would point out that another device that, once you have something which makes, ideas hopefully proliferate,
Yeah.
is that when they played their material, and not until they played it, and they've taken it to the other side, then they play fragments from it occasionally.
Once they've taken their new position at
Once
the other
they've
side,
taken
we
the
can
new
hear them retaking their positions at the start
but
of the
it's
piece
not
now.
until then, and so consequently the library of whatever of material that is taken then becomes richer towards the end of the piece.
Look, I need to say that this piece, Cortege, is the original piece he wrote was called Ritual Fragment in 1989, which he wrote very quickly. He wrote a solo adagio in
Well,
that
as I say,
competition of Gawain.
poor Michael died, and I was writing Gawain, so I got up 2 hours earlier each morning and wrote one solo. Yeah. And then at the end of the week, I think I had the piece.
But then in 2007, then this piece was redone and recomposed as Cortege, Harry. So, I mean, why recompose it? Does it mean you weren't satisfied, actually, with this piece of composition?
No, I composed it very quickly, and I don't think I really, it all came out of my, process of just there and not much time. And I thought it wasn't, I thought I could do it better at the end and sort of clean it up or something.
But it's a big rewrite. I mean,
it's a big rewrite because
even the shape's the same.
Yeah, once you get into the idea of redoing something, something takes over and you can't leave it alone. Yeah.